thank you for joining us today for this episode of This Ability Podcast. I'm your host, Mary Beaudoin, and joining us today is Justina Plowden, an advocate for disability rights and community empowerment. Thank you so much for joining us today, Justina. Really appreciate you being here.
No, thank you.
Tell our audience a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your family, things like that.
I am from a small town. I'm from Wheelchair Louisiana. I live with my mom at the moment and my daughter.
Okay.
And I try my hardest to share any resources or any type of information to people of the community that are interested in finding ways that they can help make their quality of life any better. Yeah. So that's kind of what I do. The organization, and they'll share their resources to the community, and I pass them around to other members if they can't make it to the meeting. And I'll have them available for anyone who needs them. So
that's awesome. And I recently saw on Facebook, I didn't have this in my outline, but I think you joined Train Unique.
I did.
They do wonderful things there.
Yeah, you have no idea. I've been there like a month and a half. The environment is so welcoming, and so it is, the spirit in it is so amazing. We've been working on building my upper strength, and it is, we work really, really hard.
You can feel the difference.
Yeah, I can feel it.
That's great.
And it helps with your mentality. Like, I keep a positive mindset, and exercising is something I love to do. So it's just kind of all coming into one, and it's coming out great.
Great. I'm happy to hear that. So I wanted to start with your personal journey and ask you about the accident that pretty much changed your life. So tell me about that. What happened? How old were you?
I was 23 when my car accident happened. I was coming from work, and I just made it back into Louisiana. I was coming from Texas. And was talking with some of my family members, and I decided to go to the mall. So I grabbed my daughter and one of my closest friends, and what we did, we got on the highway, we were listening to music. It was just, it was the most beautiful day. Like, sun was shining so bright. The sky was just beautifully off-white. We had the wind blowing. It was like a perfect day. It really was. And then next thing you know, someone hit us from the back, and then we ran into another car, and we ended up into the ditch, all of us. So everyone that was in the vehicle were all in wheelchairs, including my daughter. I had to be airlifted over to Lafayette, to Lydia Large, and I was in the ICU over there for 3 months and a half.
Wow.
It was a lot. It was a lot to take in all at once. I think the moment that I realized that I was paralyzed is when I went to go and reach for something in my purse, and my arms weren't reaching. Mm-hmm. And I kept on, why are my arms moving? That's when I realized, that's when it hit me, okay, so this is real,
Yeah.
And so it's just me having that in my head, and then I'm thinking about, how am I going to be able to work? How am I going to be able to take care of my daughter? And, the doctor's like, you don't know, it may come back. I always tell you you get more of comeback within the first 2 years of your injuries. Mm-hmm. So with them saying that gave me hope as in to be more aggressive whenever I got into the therapy room. So I kind of went all out and did everything my therapist told me to do. I did regain movement in my arms because nothing was moving on my body. I was able to start picking it up and moving it. I had sight movement in my fingers and sight movement in my legs. So I just hoped and hoped that something was going to change, and I did. I've seen a lot of great outcomes in certain situations we were doing therapy. Like, I started to completely do 80% of my transfers by myself.
Oh, wow.
I got stronger, and I was learning to redress myself, feed myself, do all of that myself. It gave me so motivated. It gave me a chance to be something positive. Think about, because when you're in your injury for so young, and then when it's new in the beginning, there's so much stuff that you're going through. So having my family member there, and having people who care, listen, and understand, to keep me in that same stage, so I don't lose it.
So your family was very supportive, helping you get through therapy and helping you with your mental state as well.
Yeah, they had some community members raise money to help my family get back and forth to New Orleans to check on me, to make sure that I was okay and make sure I had everything that I needed. It was hard work, but having them there made me push harder, and they were so down to earth. We would have conversations, still laugh and joke. They didn't treat me like you saw my injury.
It's good to laugh and try to have a sense of humor about things.
Yeah.
What were you diagnosed with?
I got you into a head injury whenever I was knocked out because I had to be airlifted to radiology. I broke my C5, C6 vertebrae, and my injury is labeled as C5, C6 incomplete quadriplegia.
Thank you for talking to us about that. That happened when you were 23.
Yeah.
So how many years has it been since your accident?
It's been 14 years.
14 years, yeah. And so you've had, I'm sure, some ups and downs in that time. Yeah. Well, one up I can think of is you've been competing in pageants.
Yeah.
Right. So tell me about your experience with it.
Okay. Before my accident in high school and when I was younger, my mom would put me in pageants, and it was something that I really, really enjoyed doing. Yeah. It's always so good to be prepared for things like a pageant because it sets you up for, what you'll be facing in different lives. So they're not always all beauty, and they're very goal-oriented. They want kids to do better. They want you to have the best type of life. So the scholarship pageants, I would go all out. I would go and I would audition for certain things. I would try, and I hosted a pageant one time. I started a pageant for the younger girls because they hadn't had any that year. So I was like, who's doing it? So me and a couple of my family members, we got together and we'd do one. And it was really successful. But I was really young. I had to go back to college after this. The next year with it. But they did amazing, all of those girls. And the ones who won, they're doing great today. Really proud of that. But the Miss Wheelchair Louisiana pageant was very, very wonderful. It's a great advocacy program. I mean, you learn how to advocate for yourself in certain situations, and we bring up different issues that's affecting members of the disability community. Sure. And we shed light on it, and it's like a sisterhood. We keep in contact, and we talk daily. Some of us even meet up and go places.
Well, one thing about pageants that I noticed is that it does seem to give all of the contestants a sense of confidence, especially in order to speak.
Right. It really does. Yeah. It really does. Cause it's like you never know what you're capable of until you actually do it.
Right. And so after the Miss Louisiana pageant, then you went
to compete against all other states in Miss Wheelchair.
What was that like? Getting to see all the other contestants
there.
It was
fun. It was amazing. It was really long days. We would be in groups, and we would be learn different things about advocacy. We'd have lessons. Someone would come in and teach us something new. All closer together. We had fun. We had game nights.
Do you have any words of wisdom for the new or upcoming Miss Wheelchair Louisiana?
I want her to be as knowledgeable. She asked me if she could run with the platform for transportation. And I'm like, yes, that's an issue that still needs to be spoken of, and people need to hear that. So I'll be there helping her every step of the way, mentoring her on what to say and how she can kind of meet with some leaders. I'll be helping her out most of the time.
That's awesome. So what message did you want to convey during the pageant? What was your platform?
My platform was accessible transportation for all. So basically, not everyone is able to get on a bus. Some of us need assistance.
Or call an Uber.
Right, exactly.
Right.
It's just being made aware what people with disability face on their day-to-day living is very important because not everyone don't face these challenges or barriers that we do. So just being able to let our legislators or policymakers know that, hey, these infrastructures need to be made in order to be inclusive for everyone, because not all of us have this certain type of lifestyle where it's just easy to just hop in a car and go. No, it takes a few people to get one person over, and then everything has to be modified a certain type of way. So just making sure that whenever they are and they're listening, they're hearing, because they've already started working on the infrastructures, rebuilding certain places to make it accessible. And
that's here in Lafayette, in the Lafayette area. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and I was working with our mayor. She's been she's amazing. She's already started. We've done downtown Abbeville. It's so accessible. So it's so nice. We're going to be working on the parks right now. Just try to make it for everyone. You don't want to just think about this particular group. No, it should be everyone.
And I think it's not just accessibility, meaning getting in and out of the building. It also means the way you display merchandise. There was a friend of mine who attends UL as a student, and she's in a chair, and she went to a franchise beauty store and was not able to actually get to the checkout lane because they had the displays so cluttered. She could not check out. And she talked to the cashier. She was able to flag her down, and then the cashier asked her, she said, did you want to submit a complaint. She says, you know what? I think I do.
Yeah.
And I don't blame her.
Yeah, because those little barriers right there, that's her way to get around in that.
Right. And there's some stores I've noticed, whether it's in the mall or a boutique, you need to be cognizant of the fact that if somebody's in a wheelchair, you can't have things closed or whatever backs too tight. People need to walk through them.
It is very hard.
Yeah. And I've heard some store owners say, well, I don't have that many people that come in with wheelchairs. Well, maybe you would
if you made the proper marketing.
Right, exactly. I wanted to ask you, did you have any memorable moments from the pageant experience? Like, what was your favorite thing that happened to you while you were there?
We went through the gardens out there. I forgot the name of it, but when I got there, it was cold. Okay. But it warmed up earlier that day. But just viewing them, and we did a scavenger hunt. Oh, so it was really fun. So we got to kind of all go and find a certain monument or with a picture or a statue. So we was all going around, but it was fun. Just seeing those, and that's how old pictures. Like, I really, really love art at museums. That was one of my favorite moments. Also, speech night was as well. We were lining up for speech night, and everybody was just like, "Oh my God, I don't forget." And I literally looked at my speech twice. I know they were like, "You only have 2 minutes." So, whenever you hold up the first time, that lets you know you have 20 seconds left. Okay. So I'm trying, don't mess this up in my head. So when I'm doing my speech, I see him pop up with the
little 20-second sign left.
And I'm like, get it in. And I'm like, da-da-da-da. And we matter. That's all I did. That's all I remember. I'm like,
you mentioned you like art. Do you like to create art as well?
I do. I've tried adaptive painting. I'm not very good at it. Getting there, I try to, whenever I need downtown, I'll put music on and I'll just kind of try. And I did it when I was in DC, and I did it again with a friend of mine, and it's relaxing. It's something that.
So tell us a little bit more about We Matter. How did you come up with that concept, and what type of initiatives are you guys looking to accomplish?
We Matter is basically a small nonprofit group. We kind of try to have our hands in everything. What we mainly do, we give out resources that can help anyone get out anyone with things that they may need, and then help them with their quality of life, or just resources they may need. Share certain things with them that they can utilize in their daily lives. Also, we kind of do outreach. We do a lot of collaborating with different organizations. We've been focusing on, I've been speaking to a lot of different legislators about it. It's a transportation issue, which I spoke. So hopefully I can get already modified van, and I'll try and see if I can get a driver to drive maybe any of our community members after hours from 5 to 10, because we don't have that available right now in Vermilion Parish and in other parishes that are having that situation.
That's true. I know of services that take care of bringing a person for a medical appointment during the day from point A to point B. Pick them up at their house, bring them to the doctor, they go back. But probably no recreational.
No. So I'm looking into getting modified van. Try to get a licensed driver that's used to working with someone disabled, so they can have the proper care getting in and out.
Definitely.
I don't want any type of person who doesn't understand that. And just making sure that they get to the store, get what they need, bring them back home properly, because some people just leaving. They may need assistance to the door.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to right now. So I'm focusing a lot on that part. And we do extremely a lot of advocacy work. That is where my heart is. Because right now we have so many issues that are going on that change so many people's lives.
That is right. Yeah. So I think, was it sometime in June maybe? There's some type of an event at the Capitol for Louisiana in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, with Disability Day.
Yes, Disability Day. I think that's a great way to advocate for the things that we need and talk to our local officials and make them aware of what is needed in the community.
Yeah, and generally when you speak with your representative, always tell them your story. Tell them why it's important, everything that you deal with daily and how whatever it is that you're talking to about, how did it affect you, how it helps you. You want to make sure they hear your truth. Don't sugarcoat it. Be honest. Tell them how it would hurt and what you would lose. These are all important ways to get them to vote in the correct way, so that we can continue having the services that we need.
That's really a key point you mentioned about telling your story. And I love that because one of my other guests mentioned that as well. And I think that's crucial because we're all unique and we all have different stories. Yes. And sometimes some of us might feel like, oh, they probably don't want to hear much detail about my life. And you don't have to go into every single detail. But if you tell them the highlights of why something is important to you, telling them your story, just like you said, they will listen.
They will. So many members of Congress I spoke with, some of our representatives, they were receptive. They check back in with me to see how everything is going. I get emails. It's just how you know how to carry yourself when you're in those meetings and just be honest and just be who you are. You wouldn't believe the difference it'll make.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to become an advocate for disability rights?
If they're at a doctor's office and the doctors are saying that they can't get a certain thing and they know they can, and they stand up for themselves, they are an advocate. As long as you know what you need in life and you're not going to take no for an answer and you're speaking up about it, that makes you an advocate. Just basically getting out there, speaking on a matter that you do not agree with it, you know it's not right, you know how it will harm so many Americans. And you're out there, you're speaking it and you're telling it, that makes you an advocate. You can join any group. We Matter is free to join. I try to speak with all of my members as much as I can. Ways to self-advocate for yourself is show you how to write formal emails, how to contact your local policymakers' offices, give you numbers to it and call and give you script on what to say when you call.
Love that.
Yeah, so
some people need a template.
Yeah, seriously. No.
Yes.
So it's going to be amazing. It'll make a huge difference on how to go about doing it. So excited to share it with you. We don't have the book form right now. I'm going to share it via online, but it's great.
That's awesome.
It's an amazing book.
Mentioning We Matter, you have a Facebook page. It's a specific group. So if people were interested in learning more about it, they can go to your Facebook page.
Yes.
Yeah. We Matter. Let's look at personal reflection for a minute. I wanted to ask you what or who keeps you motivated?
My daughter.
Your daughter.
And my family. We've been through so much stuff in the past, but she's so caring and she's so loving.
And what's her name?
Kaylee.
Kaylee.
Yeah. She is my everything. And it's just like, but I don't know where I would be, but I have my daughter. No, genuinely. And the support of my family is amazing. They, no matter what, they're always with me.
Does faith play an important role in your life?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
My faith plays a huge role.
So just looking ahead, what are some of your top priorities for accessibility?
I hope in the future, all locations will be able to there will be no barriers in stores. Just like if there's elevators that may be needed in a certain apartment complex, downstairs apartments where my live is very, very hard for someone living in a wheelchair. So whenever they're designing something, I want people to think of everyone. Like not one particular group of people, but there's so many different things that not me as a wheelchair user, I know I need, but that with other disabilities, they don't realize that there's other ways that they would have to adjust and accommodate certain things for. So I just see a more inclusive future because so many people are now starting to take heed of what accessibility is, and they're becoming huge allies in our fights whenever we're out there advocating for certain things, and they listen. I mean, I sat down and I emailed my mayor, and she was like, yeah, and she asked, can you send me some information on it? She said, I took a class, but I'm not too familiar, but I'm willing to learn. And just being able to have that is so huge, like for someone to listen and understand that, hey, there's so many members in your community and they need this type of help. And for them to pursue and go in and do it.
It's all about inclusion.
Yes.
I think that's awesome, Justina. Are there any other topics that you would like to talk about that we did not get a chance to talk about?
Pretty much on everything.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being here, and I think that's going to close out this episode of This Ability Podcast. Okay. So everyone, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Help us grow our audience by subscribing to our podcast on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast networks. Additionally, if you enjoy listening to our podcast,
help us to be discovered by leaving a rating or review of our episodes. This will connect us with other potential listeners and help us to expand our audience. From all of us at This Ability Podcast, we thank you for your ongoing support of our mission to unveil stories that inspire and enlighten others in the special needs community.